I've noticed that there's this quiet pressure for a lot of artists to be original, not because someone is telling us to, because often it's not that obvious. It just seems to be there, almost as if we're quietly accepting that every new piece has to be different from the last. And after a while, that pressure starts to feel normal. It no longer feels like pressure. It just feels like it's a natural way in which we think. And before we really looked, before we really spent time with the work, there's already another question running in the background. Is this original enough? Has someone already done this? Am I repeating myself? And I find it very interesting because none of those questions come from the work itself. The work isn't asking them. The material isn't asking them. The colors aren't asking them. It's only thought. And then I notice something else as well. Attention begins to move very quietly. And instead of asking, what am I actually seeing? It begins asking, how can I make this different? Instead of, what is the work asking for? It becomes, what will people think of this? And instead of, what wants to happen here? It becomes, what haven't I done before? These questions seem similar, but they take attention in a completely different direction. One stays here, the other immediately leaves. One keeps looking, and the other immediately starts searching, as if the grass is greener on the other side. And I think that is such an important difference, because the moment attention begins searching, it no longer is really seeing. Sometimes I notice how quickly that happens. The body is still standing in front of the work, and nothing has really changed. The canvas is still here, the paint is still here, the light in the room is still the same. But the attention is somewhere else now. It's comparing, it's remembering, it's imagining, trying to arrive somewhere, trying to get something. And I wonder if this is why making can suddenly begin to feel heavy. Not because the work has become difficult, but because suddenly there's something to achieve, or something to prove, or something to become. The simple act of looking has now quietly become effort of trying to be original. And I find myself wondering, what if making isn't really about becoming anything at all? Because every time I become completely absorbed in the work, nothing is trying to become. There's only color, or shape, or texture, or density. It's just the next brushstroke. And it's only by giving complete attention to what's really here and what's really going on right now that something begins to reveal itself. Not something that was invented, but something that was noticed. And perhaps that's where originality feels different. And this is possible through the attention, not as something we create, but as something that slowly becomes visible as a recognition point, through the quality of our attention. And then there are moments where all of that becomes quiet again. And through the quality of our attention, we allow moments of quiet again. Not because we have found a better idea, but because those questions simply stop being followed. Attention comes back to the now, back to the colors, back to the texture, back to what's actually here. And another question quietly appears. Not how can I make this original, but what am I noticing now? Or sometimes there isn't even a question. It's just silence, only looking. And I find that the work begins to change there. Not because I was trying harder or I was being smarter. Not because I finally thought something clever or intellectual. But because I was close enough to the work to actually see it again. To notice it. To recognize it. And I've often noticed that the moments that feel most personal are the ones that could only have come from me. The ones that could only have come from me almost never arrive while I'm trying to be original. They arrive while I have completely forgotten about originality. In the moments when I am without thought, right here.